It is Friday, December 6th, and at the time of filming this video, I am currently over 24 hours into the 72-hour fast, and this is what we're doing for Regal Change. Everybody that is involved with the Regal Change 72-hour fast, this is the first ever collective fast that we've done, and I'm approaching that point now where it's like you're super hungry, but if you just get over this little hump here, you know you're gonna be all right. But I'm just strictly water fasting at this point, just water fasting and then electrolyte drinks, but that's it. And I wanted to talk about a topic today that's been kind of on my mind, and seeing that part of the reason why we are doing this fast is to strengthen healthy relationships. I wanted to talk about how men are almost addicted to the female energy and the feminine energy. It's like a drug to these men out here. And the reason that it's like a drug is because these men have not come into their masculinity. The men have let lust conquer them so much that they don't know how to conquer the lust. And as a man, I think one of the biggest signs of maturation is when you're able to conquer your lust. When you're able to conquer your lust and you're able to really be able to accept that you have desires but not act on them all the time, or feel the need to even act on them, but just accepting that desire, and you're not repressing either, because that's another key difference is you're not going to be repressing these desires, you're going to be accepting them. Well, what's the difference between accepting them and acting on them, etc.? Well, if I see a woman that I find attractive out and about, but I know that she's probably, based off of the vibe or the way that she's walking or her clothing, there are certain indicators in her physiology and psychophysiology that's going to help me determine if she is worthy of a long-term commitment or not. And if she has certain indicators that are not going to be plausible for a long-term relationship, I'll acknowledge that there's an attractive woman there, and I'll accept that I have this biological urge to go up to the woman and start talking to her or whatnot, but I don't do anything about it. I don't act on it. I accept it and I notice it, and I'm noticing what it's like to be who I am in this physical human body, but I don't let it get to me. I don't let it ruin or disrupt my way of life. I'll acknowledge it, but I'll move on. But most of the time nowadays, I'm just so focused on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it that if I see a beautiful woman, she's going to have to be a woman that really turns my eye, like really captures my attention. Otherwise, I don't really notice them too much anymore. It's not like I ignore women, but I've gotten to the point now to where I'm very confident that lust has been conquered in many ways. And the reason for that is because I have complete self-control around women. I don't get too excited around women. I'm not like a bummer around women either. I'm not necessarily the funny guy, but I'm the fun guy when I am talking to women and I am enjoying their company. And I think women like that. I think women like that a lot, is because even though I'm stoic and I'm calm, cool, and collected, I'm also fun, and I'm not in a way of trying to just be funny. It's more like interesting conversation and talking about things that probably they'd have never even talked about before. I've had a few women in the past tell me this. But I think what's most important is to recognize how to surpass this almost addiction to feminine energy. And the reason why that this addiction is even there to begin with. You see, a lot of men, they've been so deprived of female attention, proper feminine energy, let's say, that they're seeking it in the same way that these women that are dressing the way that they dress, like very open and skin showing everywhere. Those same women that dress like that have a similar mentality about trying to attract the attention of men, to try to get that male attention that they didn't get when they were younger. I genuinely believe that that's what's happening with a lot of men, is they were and have been so deprived of female, feminine, pure energy that now they are going to do everything they can. They're going to simp, they're going to do the cuckoldry, they're going to do all these things to try to get this woman's attention or approval or validation, because they've been so deprived of it in the past. And I think it's actually becoming a bit more of a, I would say, not just a disruption to society, but it's actually becoming a worldwide phenomenon. It's not just a one country thing anymore. It's not just an America thing or an Australia or Britain or whatever. It's a worldwide phenomenon that this is occurring now. And it's basically, if you want to put it down to the simplest terms possible, the reason that this is because men have lost their ability to lead themselves, generally speaking. Men are always now looking for confirmation of their ideas or of their ways of life or the way that they think, or however, whatever it is, their principles, or even just the lack thereof in some instances. They're always looking somewhere else to get confirmation that they're doing what's right. And you know, sometimes, especially when it comes to the body, like I've got a lot of people asking me in the past about regimens fitness-wise, like, what do you do for a fitness regimen? How do you do this? How do you do that? Well, there's general advice that anybody can give if they have knowledge. But what's more is that the people that are doing these things have not yet listened to their body. And what I mean by that is, obviously, let's say for me, for example, my body doesn't really react well to carbs. You know, it's I don't know what exactly it is, but I gain fat pretty easily if I'm eating a lot of carbs. Whereas if I'm not eating a lot of carbs, if I have a low carb diet but a lot of protein, I'm a lot more, my body responds a lot better, let's say it like that. My body responds much more positively when I'm in a high protein and low carb state. Some people do better with high carb and high protein. Some people do better with low protein, low carbs, and a lot of fruits and veggies. It kind of depends on, I guess fruit kind of has carbs here and there, but for the most part, people that are just not listening to their bodies need to start listening to their bodies. And this coincides and aligns with lust. You have to actually listen to your body. Are you actually listening to what your body is telling? Is your body telling you that you need to go and get energy from this woman by, because if you're putting it like that, if you're putting it in the perspective of, I need to get something from her, you're not going to be able to get what you think you're going to be able to get, because it's the woman that's supposed to be receiving something from the man. Not only is that just biological, it's actually spiritual as well. If you cannot lead yourself as a man, if you cannot be in tune with who you are physically, emotionally, and spiritually, how do you expect to be able to lead a woman or anybody into a prosperous life, or even just a life that you can feel as though you're fulfilled? Is that not a fair question? I think it is a fair question. So, when you're going through these certain stages in your life where lust is really trying to attack you, it seems, maybe even in dreams, if you're on a celibate path and you're trying to really refrain from dating at the moment, or you just have, a lot of men have just kind of given up too. You know, men have given up for a lot of different reasons, but a lot of the women nowadays, will do anything to confuse a man, belittle him, and then make it seem like he's still the problem, while they're not taking accountability for anything. So it's understandable why men want this pure feminine energy, but going from woman to woman to woman is not going to solve that. It's just not. And you've got to be able to be okay without a woman present in your life. I'm not saying that you shouldn't desire that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that desire or have that want or need, because of course I want a relationship. Of course I'd love to have a woman by my side. But I'm okay with it not happening at this moment. I'm okay with that not happening, and especially since I've been commanded by God to do certain things and to act in a certain way in my life so that I can focus on other things at this time. I need to be applying my attention to something more at this point. And it's not to say that women are not going to be ever on the table for me or anything like that. Hopefully in the future it will be, but right now it's not my priority. It's not my top priority at all. And some people will say, well, you've really got those, what was it? I saw this comment. It was like, you have 3 things that you can focus on, but only 2 at a time. It's like women, money, and something else. What was it? I can't recall. I'm getting to that point in the fast where everything's becoming so abundantly clear. Like my mind is so clear, and yet there's some kind of friction because my body is still yearning for that food. So anyway, it's money, women, and something else. I can't recall, but it's a common saying. And it's like you can only focus on 2 at a time. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. And the reason for that is because we all have 24 hours in the day, of course, but you can still reorient your life to apply a certain amount of percentage to what needs to be applied to at that point in time. And right now, my percentage of wanting to deal with women, number 1, but number 2, what God has commanded of me, is like 10% of my time, maybe even 5% of my time. So the rest of my time, 90% of my days, are filled with purpose, meaning, and building something more for not just my legacy. I don't really have a legacy. Like I used to think that family legacy is most important, and I still do think family legacy is important, but what I know is more important than that is the Most High's legacy and His glory. So as I work for God and I continue to escalate my abilities and improve my abilities in working for Him, I'm going to be doing certain things that I have to devote more time to and less time to. And one of those times down the line might be a family. God has commanded me to keep my heart open, but also that I am not to have a family or a wife at this time. And I've made a video about this months and months ago. Maybe it was just a few months ago, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. The point is that you need to be able to conquer your lust, and you need to be able to conquer your desire to desire. And only by accepting that you're not going to be able to relinquish your desires is that you accept the desires that you have. So I hope this message was useful and insightful. If you do want to join a godly community, we have the free Discord channel available in the link in the description box below with a bunch of free resources there. We also have the paid community where you get a weekly Bible study as well as a weekly group call and other classes to attend throughout that whole the whole courses and the whole community itself. So that's another option for you. I want to appreciate everybody that has been watching my videos recently and just as a whole as well. I really do appreciate your guys' support. I could not have done all of what I've been able to do without you guys. And I want to appreciate everybody that's been moving from YouTube over to X, and Rumble. Again, I appreciate your support, and with all that being said, peace be with you all. Until next time.